World War I, which lasted from 1914 to 1918, was one of the most horrific massacres the world had ever witnessed, with over 16 million soldiers and civilians killed. World War I completely reshaped the global political map, leading to the collapse of long-standing empires such as Austria-Hungary, the Ottoman Empire, and Russia, which had existed for centuries, and the emergence of new nations in their place. After the war ended, political chaos and social upheaval continued, eventually contributing to another, even larger and more devastating global conflict just 2 decades later. The event that triggered World War I was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, in 1914. However, historians argue that World War I was the culmination of a series of events stretching back to the late 1800s. These events included numerous miscalculations and misguided actions that led to unforeseen and catastrophic consequences. According to history, below are 8 historical events that led to the outbreak of World War I. 1. The Franco-Russian Alliance, 1894. Both Russia and France, having been defeated in the Franco-Prussian War of 1870-1871, feared the rising power of Germany, which had allied itself with Austria-Hungary and Italy. As a result, the two nations decided to join forces for mutual protection. This marked the beginning of the Triple Entente in World War I. In my view, the gradual formation of the Triple Entente through the Franco-Russian Alliance in 1894, the Entente Cordiale between Britain and France in 1904, and the Anglo-Russian Convention in 1907 truly solidified a system of diplomatic agreements that created the opposing blocs responsible for the War in 1914, explained Richard S. Fogarty, Associate Professor of History at the University at Albany, USA. The alliance system played a critical role in shaping the war, and even fueling it by generating expectations of rivalry and international competition. Fogarty added, 2. Germany's first naval law, 1898. This law, supported by the German Imperial Navy Secretary Admiral Alfred von Tirpitz, significantly expanded Germany's battle fleet. Tirpitz was committed to building a navy capable of rivaling the British Royal Navy. Tirpitz tried to force Britain into an alliance with Germany, on Germany's terms, said Eugene Berriger, Associate Professor of History, Peace, Justice, and Conflict Studies at DePaul University, USA. In response, Britain ramped up shipbuilding and abandoned its splendid isolation policy by the late 1880s, forming alliances with Japan, France, and Russia. The German naval law had unintended consequences. Ultimately, it alienated both the British government and the British public before the war. Berriger wrote in an email. 3. The Russo-Japanese War, 1904-1905, Tsar Nicholas II sought access to a port that would allow his navy and merchant ships to reach the Pacific Ocean. Japan saw Russia's growing aggression as a threat and launched a surprise attack on the Tsar's fleet at Port Arthur. The war, fought both on land and at sea, ended in a Japanese victory. Berriger noted that the war helped shift the balance of power in Europe. Russia's allies, France and Britain, the latter being allied with Japan, signed a separate agreement in 1904 to avoid being dragged into the conflict. Later, France persuaded Russia to enter into an alliance with Britain, laying the foundation for the coalition in World War I. 4. Austria-Hungary's annexation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. 1908. Under a treaty signed in 1878, Austria-Hungary was administering Bosnia and Herzegovina, although technically the provinces remained part of the Ottoman Empire. However, when the Austro-Hungarian government formally annexed the territory, the move sparked strong opposition. The two provinces had a predominantly Slavic population that wanted their own nation, while Slavs in neighboring Serbia aspired to absorb the provinces. A train carrying troops departs a station during the Bosnia annexation crisis in 1908. In multi-ethnic empires, national pride often drove resistance to imperial rulers. Tensions rose in the Balkans, where Slavic populations resisted Austro-Hungarian domination, said Doran Cart, curator at the National World War I Museum and Memorial. Additionally, the annexation pushed Russia, which viewed itself as Serbia's protector, toward confrontation with Austria-Hungary. The Second Moroccan Crisis, 1911. France and Germany had long competed over influence in Morocco, where German Emperor Kaiser Wilhelm II sought to pressure the Franco-British alliance. In the First Moroccan Crisis in 1905, Wilhelm II sailed to Tangier to show support for the Moroccan Sultan in opposition to French interests. However, instead of backing down, Britain sided with France. The German gunboat SMS Berlin sent to reinforce Germany's position off the coast of Agadir, Morocco, July 1911. In the Second Moroccan Crisis of 1911, German Foreign Minister Alfred von Kiedelenwächter sent a naval gunboat to anchor at a Moroccan port in response to a tribal uprising that Germany claimed was backed by France to gain more control over the country. Once again, Britain supported France. In the end, Germany was forced to recognize French protectorate status over Morocco. The two crises brought Britain and France closer together, setting the stage for further confrontation with Germany. Beccacius 6. Italy invades Libya, 1911. The modern Italian state, founded in 1861, had been largely left out of the imperial race that had built Britain, France, and other major powers into global empires, explained Associate Professor Fogarty. The Italian government declared war on Turkey in 1911 after the Ottoman Empire refused to allow Italy to occupy Tripoli. Italian troops landed after shelling Benghazi. The Italian government targeted Libya, a North African region not yet claimed by any Western European power, and decided to seize it from the Ottoman Empire. The Italo-Turkish War ended with a peace treaty, but Ottoman troops withdrew, leaving Libya as an Italian colony. This was the first military conflict to include aerial bombing, but its true significance lay in exposing the Ottoman Empire's weakness and its loosening grip on overseas territories. It was one of the factors leading to World War I, which Fogarty describes as a war of empires, some expanding or seeking to expand, others trying to hold on to what they had. 7. The Balkan Wars, 1912-1913. Serbia, Bulgaria, Montenegro, and Greece, nations that had broken away from the Ottoman Empire in the 1800s, formed an alliance known as the Balkan League. This coalition, backed by Russia, aimed to seize more of the remaining Ottoman territory in the Balkans. In the First Balkan War, 1912, Serbia, Greece, and Montenegro defeated Ottoman forces, forcing them into an armistice agreement. However, the Balkan League quickly disintegrated. And in the Second Balkan War, Bulgaria fought against Greece and Serbia over Macedonia, while the Ottoman Empire and Romania also joined the conflict against Bulgaria. Soldiers on the battlefield during the Balkan Wars. Getty Images. In the end, Bulgaria was defeated. The Balkan Wars made the region even more unstable. As the Ottoman Empire's influence receded, tensions between Serbia and Austria-Hungary escalated. This led Austria-Hungary and its ally, Germany, to conclude that war with Serbia would eventually be necessary to secure Austria-Hungary's position. Many historians view the Balkan Wars as the true beginning of World War I, said Associate Professor Fogarty. 8. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, traveled to Sarajevo to inspect the troops stationed in Bosnia and Herzegovina. He and his wife Sophie were shot and killed while riding in their car. The assassination highlighted the growing nationalism that was tearing the mighty Austro-Hungarian Empire apart, said Professor Fogarty. At the same time, tensions among European powers were rising, as each took sides during the crisis. According to history, the assassination bound Austria-Hungary and Russia, which viewed itself as Serbia's protector, into a confrontation. Neither wanted to appear weak or back down. Fearing a war with Russia, Austria-Hungary sought support from Germany. Germany pledged its backing if Austria-Hungary used force against Serbia. This support emboldened Austria-Hungary, which declared war on Serbia on July 28, 1914. 2 days later, Russia mobilized its army, and Germany found itself drawn into the conflict. Germany did not want to fight both Russia and its ally, France, on two fronts simultaneously, so it planned to knock France out of the war before Russia could fully mobilize. Germany declared war on Russia on August 1, 1914, and 2 days later, on France. German forces moved toward the Belgian border, intending to pass through and invade France. Belgium called for help, and on August 4, 1914, Britain declared war on Germany.